Hello, my name is Sarah and you are watching I Talk to Notebooks. Today we're going to be doing the third part of our three-part series in Why Am I Not Journaling More Often? So if you're new here, this is actually the last installment of a series, and I'm going to put the first one up in the iCard. Just ignore that glitch with my green screen. It's a very poor man's green screen. And then I'm going to put the second part up there. This series is in response to a survey that I conducted with about 80 participants, and it was all about why people don't journal as frequently or as prolifically as they would like to be journaling. So there's no idea here that people should be journaling a certain amount, but there is a phenomenon that sometimes occurs among members of the community in which people will wish they were journaling more than they are, and they don't know why they aren't actually doing as much journaling as they want. So I wanted to get to the root of some common reasons as to why. So this was a 2-question survey, and the first question was just a general option you could pick for why you felt you weren't journaling as much as you would like to be. And then the second question was just based on your answer to the first question and would allow you to elaborate on why. Now, the videos in this series are going from most common answers to least common answers, so this is actually going to be the least common answers video. So if you don't see anything that applies to you here, I would recommend you check out those videos. They're also going to be in the description. And there's also a table of contents in the description, so feel free to skip around and find stuff that's relevant to you, because these videos are long and you might get a little bit bored, and that's okay. So without further ado, let is, as all the successful YouTubers say, get right into it. So, alright. Our next reason here that people gave for not journaling as much as they wanted to be was, I find it boring. Find journaling boring? How could you find it boring? So here are some sub-answers as to why people find it boring. I have other hobbies that I find more engaging. So you want to spend your free time doing other stuff that you like better. I mean, who can blame you? Let's think about some solutions to this one. Well, having a hobby that you like more than journaling doesn't have to be a hindrance to your journaling practice. In fact, that hobby is probably a big part of your life and should be showing up in your journals. So instead of spending a lot of time journaling about it, why don't you just save pictures and other memorabilia from those hobbies for your journal? And then you can just do a quick paste in. So you spent your day doing something else? That's cool. You can just paste in the pictures you took from your horseback riding event or your bird watching day out, or maybe you went to a museum and you got a little flyer. Like, whatever it is you like to do, that should be what's in your journals. When journaling is a big hobby, sometimes we can find ourselves journaling about journaling, which can be a little bit redundant in my opinion. Another thing you can do is just accept that you don't journal that frequently and use your journal to document yoru. Oh, we're getting a little bit Japanese up in here. That's what that seemed like. Document the best parts of your life. This is the first time I'm saying that you might just need to accept that you are not a daily journaler. You may not be a weekly journaler. Some people only write once every few months. That's okay. That's the amount you want to journal. Don't beat yourself up over it. Just, write what you want to write, document what you want to remember, and get on with your life. Life is for living, not just documenting. All right. The next reason that people gave that they find it boring is the details of my life are mundane, and I have no interest in reliving them. You know what? I don't think this is all going to fit here. Let's just delete that and put it here. There we go. So one thing you can do here is maybe this is a sign that you need to add interest to your life. So people can have mundane, boring lives for a lot of reasons. For example, you could be in like a tough financial spot and not be able to really afford to do a lot of fun stuff. Or you might need to just spend a lot of time working because of that and not really have much to do outside of work, which is unfortunate. You could also maybe have a disability that makes it difficult for you to do fun stuff, and you spend a lot of time around the house doing kind of the same stuff over and over again. So, I'm not saying this is an easy fix for everybody, but for some people, we can just get into a rut and, just do what's comfortable and never leave our comfort zone, and then our lives get a little bit boring and we don't have anything to really write about. So that's not always good. There's a way you can spice up your life and make it something that you want to participate in, you should definitely try to do that. And even if you're busy or if you are not able to go out and do a bunch of stuff, there's still maybe some things you could do to make your life a little bit more interesting. Maybe if you have like a long commute to work or something, maybe you could start listening to audiobooks. Or if you have a disability, maybe you could start critiquing films or painting or something, depending on what the nature of your disability is. So there might be ways to add something interesting to your life, even if it's just consuming media passively. It could be something you could analyze and think about and make you a little bit more interested in your own life, because it's so sad to not have an interest in your own life. And along those lines, you can try journaling about philosophies, books, movies, ideas, and theories instead. I mean, some people just really like to journal about politics, or just something they read or a movie they watched, or just a random idea they had. I've got like a bunch of journal entries on my theories about ghosts. So, yeah, you can write anything you want in your journals. It doesn't have to be a log of your life. So don't restrict yourself to that if it's not something you want to write about. Okay. Try writing out song lyrics or collaging a spread to reflect your mood. So maybe you're just listening to most people listen to music from all walks of life. You might be able to write down some of the music you're listening to, or just if you don't really know what to say specifically, but you want to feel some type of way or express the way you were feeling that day, you could just use like a picture or draw something. Like, there's lots of other ways to express yourself besides like writing down the details of your particular day. And finally, just keep in mind that many people do not journal literally. A lot of people actually journal like possibilities, or like, what if I lived in this alternate universe, and you could write an entry from that perspective, or like, man, what if I just quit my job tomorrow? What would that be like? And you could write an entry about that. Like, a lot of people don't journal literally, which is why it can be so very devastating when somebody reads our journals and misinterprets it. But it's also a benefit, because if you get bored with your everyday life, you definitely can use that non-literal journaling as a way to add interest. Next reason, besides finding it boring. Okay, so there was another category, other reasons. So let's get into those. One reason that people put was mental illness. There were a lot of answers like that. So let me just share some of the answers people put. If my stress level is too high, I can't collect my thoughts enough to journal, even though that's probably when I need it most. People wrote about executive dysfunction. People wrote about, oops, that's not right. I have a lot to write about and procrastinate because of it sometimes. I have a major problem when it comes to procrastinating, even things I love, and I think it's due to my depression or ADD. So I think that for this one, obviously the answer is going to be, how do I format this? Let's try this. Let's make that correct. Alright, this is going to be a little bit annoying, but I'm going to put this in just a different color, I guess. Yep. So the solutions are, maybe seek out the assistance of a professional if you can. I know that's like the answer everyone always gives, but if you can, like if you have insurance and you can afford it and you have that time in your schedule, getting professional help is really beneficial to a lot of people. Most people say that therapy helps them a lot and they really like it. It's not easy to go. It's not pleasant. It takes courage and a lot of work to even find a therapist, which can be difficult if you struggle with stress or executive dysfunction. But if you can push yourself just to do that, then you might have an easier time in the future, because these are trained professionals who can teach you how to work with your personality type and your mental illnesses, and be able to do things you love. Because the truth is, this one is bigger than journaling. It's not just journaling that you're not doing as much as you want to. There's going to be a lot of stuff that you're not going to be able to do because your mental illness is getting in the way. Other things that you can try if you can't see a therapist, You could look on YouTube for resources about your mental illness. Try to make sure they're by a professional, because there are like teenagers on TikTok saying all kinds of things that are not helpful or true, and I would not want someone to go down a rabbit hole. You could try, just doing research online, or checking out some books at the library, which should be free to you. Or maybe you could order some on Amazon, which usually has pretty affordable books, like stuff that can help you understand the way your mental illness might be affecting you if you can't make the time or afford a therapist. So try to do your own research. I don't know, for an actual mental illness, that's like pretty tough. And then finally, the one I would recommend, which is like, again, very trite. If you have trouble with a lot of this stuff, this is probably not going to help that much. We're a little out of my wheelhouse, but meditation is supposed to be really, really, really helpful. I've only done it a little bit because I'm not disciplined. I have not been disciplined with doing that. But when I do it, it is really great for relaxing and grounding yourself, and it really helps with things like anxiety or just like thinking about stuff too much, and it can help, at least helps me get into a calmer headspace. But again, I'm not diagnosed with any of this stuff, so that is easy for me to say. So you may want to seek out a better source for that. There's lots of other journaling channels that somewhat address mental illness, but I can't think off the top of my head of who I'd want to recommend specifically. Okay, let's do another answer. Not enough time. This was a big one. I should have included it under the main reasons. So let's get these ones. These are the answers people wrote in. These are write-in answers. Whoops. No. Why are you so crazy? PowerPoint is just nuts here. Making it look stupid. There we go. So people are saying they have days with very little downtime. They don't have the time. They have limited time, even though they have lots to say. They forget to write because they're busy, and they just don't have enough time. For this one, again, it depends on what you mean by not having enough time. Because here's the thing. Sometimes when people say, and I'm not saying this is all the time, okay? This can be really condescending if it's not the case for you. If this does not apply to you, just don't even think about it. It's not your case. But if this is you, this could be helpful. Sometimes not enough time means not high enough of a priority. People tend to make time for the stuff they really want to do, and you just might not want to journal. That might not be your number one priority. And that's okay, You don't have to, again, you don't want to force yourself to journal if you don't feel like it. If you genuinely don't feel like it, it's not your favorite thing to do, you only want to do it a couple times a month, a couple times a year, just do it a couple times a month or a couple times a year. Nobody has time to do everything. Why would you prioritize something that isn't how you want to spend your limited time on earth? Other than that, this one is like, it also depends on why you don't have enough time. Like, for example, it could just be that you're in school and it's temporary and you're just studying a lot. Or it could be that you are, working a job that's really, really high stress and takes up all your time, and you're looking for a way out of that. So it could be a temporary situation that you could be finding your way out of. But if you are, if you are like, for example, a mother with like a bunch of kids and you're really overwhelmed at home, maybe you could ask for help. Sometimes it can be hard to ask for help, but if you feel like you're drowning and you don't have time to do something you really, really want to do, like if this is really not the case and you really wish you had more time to journal, but you just literally don't because you have so many other demands and you're drowning, if you have someone you can reach out to for help, even if it's someone you're not super close with, they probably will help you. I'm not saying do it all the time. It's better to have like a support network that you build up. But people are genuinely pretty kind, and if you just feel really flooded and stressed and like you never get to do anything you want to do, that is going to really negatively impact your mental health. And so I think it's okay to ask for help from people. I know that in times when I've been extremely like flooded with stress, I have asked for help, and that has allowed me to relax and be able to do things I want to do, and have a full life just like people are meant to. And sometimes this is just going to be a patience thing. Like I said, you're just going to have to wait for your life to calm down. Maybe you do have a bunch of kids, you don't have someone who's helping you for whatever reason, you have no one to reach out for, no support. Your kids aren't going to be little forever, probably. Eventually they will be out on their own in most cases. And, I know that doesn't apply to everybody, but you could then just wait it out. Do the minimum journaling, do what you can, but just wait until the time is right. If you're in school, you might need to graduate. If you're working a really hard job, you might have to wait until you find another one, or can switch career paths. It might be a long time before you get to journal as much as you want to, but just don't let yourself feel like it's going to last forever, because you deserve to have time to do stuff you really want to do. And I know it's easy for me to say because I do have that time, and some people are really in a tough spot, but I think you deserve it. I want you to have it, and I really hope that you can find a solution that works for you. If none of these helped, but you know of another one that could work for somebody who's in a really tough situation with time, please drop it in the comments below. Any of these, particularly with regards to mental illness and things like that I'm a little bit less well versed in, please do share your own experience, because again, I don't have these problems. I've never experienced this, and I know, lucky me, right? All right, one last section under the other reasons. Guess what it's called? Other. This was just pure writing. So somebody says, I've got arthritis and my right wrist really hurts. Well, that's tough. You can't write by hand if your wrist is hurting. So here's what I'm thinking, that maybe digital journaling would help. Because you have more options with what you can do. That lets you type if that's easier on your wrist. That could let you do voice to text if that's easier as well. You don't have to do any kind of writing or typing motion, and you can still get your journaling done, and it'll be easier on you. So that could be an option for that. Just love it when it does that. Says, I have a lot of, some of these I've been putting quotes and some I haven't, and I know that's inconsistent. I have a lot of things to write about, but it gets to a point where it's overwhelming to sit down and write it down because I feel like I'm forgetting something. Attitude adjustment. That sounded really rude. I mean it literally. I'm not throwing shade. Attitude adjustment. You don't need to remember everything. So bear that in mind. It's not your responsibility to log. It's not your responsibility to write down everything you did or everything you felt. You can do your best, and no one is going to care besides you. And you need to go easier on yourself so that you can still enjoy your hobby. You could also do voice memos or notes throughout the day on your phone. Or you can have a little Fields Note notebook that you carry around with you. I like Write in the Rain has little notebooks, so you can they have pens too. You can literally write anywhere, in any weather, upside down, whatever is going on. You can just write without worrying about it. So that could be cool if you wanted to just always have some way to write, and then at the end of the day, you can use your notes to base your full entries on. Okay. My procrastination was one. I'm actually not going to list that one here because that goes under time. Tired or not comfortable or distracted by the TV. For this one, obviously if you're too tired to journal, that's happened to me a few times this week, where I'm just so tired I could barely write. And can you tell? And what I would recommend is if the tiredness is something you can address, like you're having a health problem or you're overrunning yourself and there's a solution, obviously try to solve the tiredness. Being tired all the time is really bad for your health. If you're not getting enough sleep and enough rest, that's really, really bad for you. So that's actually a problem that you should probably try to address if you can. Not everybody has the resources or the ability, I get it, but to address the tiredness, because that's not good for you. For the other stuff, like being not comfortable or distracted, set up a consistent and welcoming journaling environment. So just make sure you have a place that you can go to, even if that's just a little corner. Claim it for yourself. It's, presumably wherever you are, you're either paying rent or a mortgage there, so it's your house, claim it, make a part of it yours. Even if you live with other people, like, come on, have that journaling corner. I'm not saying take over the whole place, but really stake out your space. You deserve it. It's your hobby. You deserve to be able to unwind and do things that you love to do. So really, take that time to create a journaling environment that is right for you. I'm going to do another video about this soon, so be on the lookout for that. I really do want to help people have environments that are not distracting or uncomfortable. So we'll try that. And then we have one more. Other. And this one is the things I feel I should write about the most are things I don't want to think about. Yeah, that's me in a nutshell. So, how I deal with this, here's some honesty. Avoid it. Like, just don't make yourself, just journal for fun. It's fun to write. It's fun to memory keep what you do want to remember. You don't have to write down everything. Like, maybe there's stuff you want to forget. You're allowed to want to forget stuff. Not everything is like something you have to remember. So you can let yourself forget things you don't want to think about. And if it's a stressor as well, like if it's like, oh my gosh, I have this long to-do list and I feel like I should be writing about that, but I don't feel like it because it stresses me out, just don't. Another thing is just wait, because I've had a couple of things like this before where there's like something I want to write about or process, but there's just this door that just slams shut in my mind. And I was working with a therapist about this, and she said that that's like, you need to listen to your body and your mind, and that's happening. It's happening for a reason, and eventually that door is going to open. And in my experience, it does open, even if it's something like pretty difficult and uncomfortable or really seems daunting. With time, the door does open and you get to the point where you can address it. So you might not be writing about things as they're happening. You might not be. You might have a journal that is not really current. It might go back and revisit old things. I've done that in my journals all the time. Maybe it's not your preferred method, but it might be what you need to do to get the most out of your journal. Okay, so that is actually the end of the survey. And I just wanted to leave you guys with a couple of requests. If you have any of your own reasons or suggestions for how people can combat these things in any of the videos, please write them in the comments. And no, this is not just to drive up engagement, although that is nice. It's because I'm not this omniscient God who can know every single reason based on one survey or all the best suggestions for these blockers. So if you have some, I know a lot of you in this community are a lot more experienced than I am. You've been journaling for longer than I have, so please share your advice, because you guys, we need it. I need it. The other thing is, if there is a topics in journaling video you'd like to see, please let me know, because I'm looking for ideas. I have a few others that I want to talk about, but I'm running a little thin, and so if you have anything that you would like to know more about, if you're a beginner, I see that these videos tend to do better than my other videos, which makes me think that people are wanting to know more about how to get started and are maybe facing some obstacles. So I want to make sure that nobody is being unwantingly blocked from journaling if they really want to. So let me know what you want to know about. Let me know what your problems are. Just let me know what you're struggling with, and we can work through it together. I'll do my best, and people in the comments can fill in the gaps. Also, if you like this style of video where I talk about journaling in a meta way, I'm going to link some channels down below that also do this. One of them is Overall Adventure. She has quite a few videos backlogged on her channel about the best ways to journal, how to get to know your journal, how to get comfortable with your journal, things like that. Sheila writes. She does, usually monthly, she does a journal chat. So I really like those videos a lot. Those are my favorites. She just did a really great one about if somebody, she did a really good one about would you read someone else's journal, and then somebody read her journal and she talked about how it made her feel. And then people get discussing in the comments. It's a really great environment. She's really honest and has a lot of interesting topics. So if you like thinking about journaling and, getting into the nitty gritty of some of the stuff that kind of is around our hobby, definitely check out those channels. They're really interesting, and in particular, Overall Adventures can help you get started, and Sheila can just help you work through the process. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.